Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. It's been a long time, but I've had this idea for a while now. I had told you I wanted to do some common progressions. I mean, this seems like it was back in the dark ages that I said that I was going to make these videos. While this isn't necessarily common progression in a long sense, like multiple chord changes, this is a very important idea in jazz and one that we should definitely get under our fingers, and that would be major to minor. So what is the idea I'm talking about? Well, it's exactly what's in the title, taking a major sound and going to the parallel minor sound. So for example, if I was going to practice my C major, I would drop the third to the minor third, and being able to play both the major and then go to the minor, and not just in a scale perspective, but in arpeggio perspective. And not just in a triad perspective, but maybe add some extensions. So on that one I did a major 9, major 7, major 9, and then I did basically a minor 9, where I flatted the 7th, I flat the 3, flat the 7th, and then go up to the 9. So being able to manipulate all of those sounds in my practicing. So I would think about either playing patterns, like I just did, in every key, like the parallel. So I would go through the circle and do a certain pattern, for example, the one that I just did. So that I made sure that I knew the major and then the minor. Maybe even a more basic perspective, you need to know the thirds. So number-wise, you need to know what 3 is in every key so you're able to flat that. And I know this seems like a really basic idea, but it's not, in that you can now manipulate this major to minor. You don't just have to play patterns. You could randomly choose notes and rearrange, which is what I like to do. So I'll do that. Here's my C major. I'm just going to use the C major scale and randomly move notes around, manipulate them. There's my major. Now, here would be the minor, where I'm manipulating it and just rearranging as well. So now, if I put them together, here's the major. So now I've got the major to minor sound, and it doesn't necessarily sound like scales, right? It sounds like maybe a little bit more modern sounding, but I'm comfortable enough within the major scale. And when I say minor, this is really a Dorian scale. 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, regular 6, like a raised 6th. Major, Dorian. So major to minor, really the minor sound is just because of the flat 3. But that is a really important sound to know and practice. Now why? Well, let me give you just 3 applications. There are a lot of tunes that have this sound in it. Let me just give you a couple here. That's the beginning of On Green Dolphin Street. And that starts out with a major. Then it goes right to the parallel minor. So knowing, having the ability to go from major to minor for a song like Green Dolphin Street, super important. Well, what's another song? How about I'll Remember April? For me, that starts on A major, like if I'm doing it in the key of G, concert G, it starts on A major and then goes to A minor. Now, again, when it goes to the minor, I'm using the Dorian. I'm not using a natural minor. I'm not using a harmonic minor. I'm actually going to use the Dorian scale. So here would be that I'll Remember April. here, if I was to take a little solo over that. Okay, first time I didn't do it long enough, but you get the idea. Knowing major to minor. And for major, I'm specifically doing the major scale, which is going to imply a major 7 chord or major 9 chord. And then for the minor, I'm doing a minor 7 chord, which is going to imply a Dorian scale. Okay, so that's one super important application of you just knowing the major to minor. And now, here's another one though. Here's a very common progression that utilizes this major sound to minor sound. And really, it would be on a lot of standards, it's major 4 chord, and I'll give you an example on the piano, but the 4 major to 4 minor, and the 4 minor can be substituted with the flat 7 dominant chord. But let me give you just the sound here. So if I was in the key of C, now there's the 4 chord, but a very common chord to come next would be 4 minor. I put a 6 in it and a 9. Now, if I put the flat 7 dominant with it, that's really super common, and it appears in, oh my goodness, countless standards, of which I should have had examples for you, but there's so many of them that have that sound. This 4 major. Okay, so that's the idea. That's the kind of progression. 4 major to 4 minor. And again, that is a huge progression. Huge. So usually 4 major to 4 minor, then we'll go to 3, 6, 2, 5. So that's a large, common progression in jazz standards. And then here's the one that I've used before. I did this in one of the blues videos, but really super important to understand. You can use major on the blues. So like if I'm in my key of C, I've got a bar of C7, and then the second bar would be F7, and then C7, C7, or 2-5 to 4, whatever. But this could be major, so C major, not the C major scale though, because I'm doing a flat 7 here, but just the major third, the sound of the major third. And then I can still do a C minor, because now I've got an E flat as the 7 on the F7, so I've got that sound. Let me give you an example here, but this major to minor in the blues, super important as well. So 1, 2, 3, Here it is again. So major here, third, minor, major. So that idea of the major third falling to the minor third, again, major to minor, super, super important in jazz, in music in general, but having that under your fingers. So again, how do you start? I would practice scales. Major scale, then the parallel Dorian scale. So C major scale, practice it up to the 9, then do the C Dorian scale up to the 9. And then before I end, let me just give you that as an example here. So C major, C Dorian. So understanding most importantly, the movement of the third. What is the major third? What's the minor third? And then you're going to be able to manipulate all of that in your information. So let me just give you one example before I leave here, or I'll play a little bit and just show you the major to minor, maybe just in a standard progression. Like a little rhythm changes, 4 major, 4 minor, and knowing that third, being able to manipulate the major third on the chord to the minor third, super important. All right, I'm gonna have a lot to say, I think, on these videos because it's been so long. Anyway, hope this helps, and I hope you're well, and I hope to do this more frequently. Take care.